Hey, my name is Allison, and I've been watching a lot of coming out videos lately, and I wanted to do sort of a video on my experiences with coming out, or lack thereof. I remember very specifically, when I was a little girl, I was sitting in my dad's truck, and I had a DVD player on the back of the seat, and I was listening to the Dixie Chicks, because I grew up in the Deep South, and I listened to the Dixie Chicks. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my god, I like girls. And I thought to myself, that sounds really inconvenient to like girls. Like, they can't get married, get prosecuted, people don't like them, like, I'm just not gonna deal with that. I went through life, and I had a boyfriend in like 7th grade, his name was Josh, he was real nice. And I started going to public school my freshman year of high school. And I'd only been homeschooled before then. Never been to public school or private school, I'd only been homeschooled. And it was a big jump I went to a public school with 3,000 people. 3,000 people. There was 800 people in my freshman class. It's a lot of people going from a school of one. And on my 3rd or 4th day, I met Scarlett. I met her in my guided study class, but I met Scarlett. And Scarlett ended up being really important to me. As a tiny homeschooled girl whose only social interaction had been church and ballet classes, meeting Scarlett was a shock because she would chain smoke out behind the school and give boys blowjobs in bathrooms. And I thought Scarlett was so cool. Everyone thought Scarlett was cool in freshman year. Everyone thought Scarlett was the shit. And when I first started going to school, the only people I knew was my neighbor and some girl from dance class. And I sat with the girl from dance class during lunch. And after a few days, I eventually started singing with Scarlett, and her friends never really liked me, and that's okay. But one thing about Scarlett, she was the first depressed person I ever met, the first person in real life who self-harmed. And that was a big culture shock for me. And I remember thinking to myself, being like, all right, this is my opportunity to be tolerant and show her that I'm not judging her for self-harming. And I remember she was also the first gay person I'd ever met. She was bisexual, pansexual, not sure what she identifies as now, she went back and forth. But she was the first person I met who liked the same gender. And I was fascinated by that. I was so excited to meet my first real life gay person. And she had a girlfriend. Her girlfriend was in my language arts class, her name was Shanice, and they were real cute together. They're a little interracial lesbian couple, it was adorable. And they ended up breaking up because of religious reasons, Shanice's family. And Scarlett was heartbroken. And I remember coming down like at midnight and asking my mom, would you be okay if I was gay? And she was like, yeah, sure, of course. I'll love you no matter what. Why are you gay? And I'm like, no. I'm not gay. I'm just wondering. I was just wondering if you would be okay with that. And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll love you no matter what. And I remember one night I was in my bathroom, right over there. And I realized, I was like, yeah, I like girls. I sure do. And I went and I told my best friend. I was a little bit worried about, because she was religious. But we'd been friends for 8 years. And she was like, yeah, I love you no matter what. Doesn't matter to me, you're gay, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And then the second person I told was Scarlett. Because she was the only queer person I know. And I didn't know what else to do. So I told her. And she was like, awesome, join the gay club. Awesome. And I was like, yeah, tiny baby, as a tiny baby gay. Then a few days later, Scarlett asked me out. And I was so excited because I'd had a crush on Scarlett for forever. Before I even knew that I liked girls, I had a crush on Scarlett. I adored her with all my tiny little 14-year-old heart. And I was so cool for dating Scarlett because Scarlett was so cool the freshman year. And I loved being her girlfriend. I loved holding hands with her down the hallway. I loved kissing her on the cheek. I loved saying I had a girlfriend. It was fun. And she ended up breaking up with me for some gross guy. And I was heartbroken. I was destroyed. In fact, that's when I started self-harming, when Scarlett broke up with me. But we ended up getting back together my summer after freshman year, before sophomore year. And we had a really fun time that summer. I would stay up all night talking to her because she had summer school during the day, so I would sleep during the day and stay up during the night to talk to her. and I hung out with her family and her a lot. We would have sleepovers all the time. I remember my parents were really confused. They were like, should we let your girlfriend sleep over? Is that okay? And I was like, fucking I don't know. I think it's okay, obviously. And we had a really fun time. And I didn't ever really come out to my family. I just kind of changed my relationship status on Facebook. So I just kind of posted on Facebook in a relationship with Scarlett, and I deleted it immediately. And then I put it back a few days, and I was like, okay, let it happen. And just, nobody kind of mentioned it. Just kind of nonchalant. I think I had already told my mom at that point, but she was fine with it. I love my mom. And I dated Scarlett over the summer, and she was my first kiss. She was my first real relationship. She was my first person I ever made out with. She was my first person I ever had any sort of sexual experience with. I like to say I lost my virginity to her because she's the first person I ever did anything sexual with. We were both really fucked up. And we both had major depression and self-harm and suicidality urges. And as a stupid little 14-year-old, I got upset that she kept trying to tell my parents that I was suicidal, and I broke up with her. And she was really upset. I was really upset too. I was being kind of a dick. I was 14. I didn't know any better. But that was the first real relationship I had. It was with a girl. And I knew I was bisexual. I just kind of figured. I was like, yeah, I like both. And then I ended up dating a guy, which is a completely different story. That would take a whole nother video. Probably gonna make that one day. And he was really, really abusive. And I finally got out of that relationship. Finally. And I was just like, that's it. I don't want to date guys anymore. Nope. And I dated another girl. That's another story. And I've always had an inherent distrust for guys. Like, my mom would tell me when I was a baby, if she handed me to a woman, I'd be fine. But if she handed me to a man, I would cry. I was not having it. And I'm sure it's a little bit of daddy issues, because my dad was kind of an asshole when he's younger. He's still kind of an asshole. He's my dad. I love him, but I've always had an inherent distrust for guys. And I was just like, that's it. I don't want to date any guys. I'm just going to call myself a lesbian. But I couldn't ever turn off my attraction to guys. I would try so hard. I wanted so hard to just be gay and not have to worry about it. But I couldn't turn off my attraction to guys, and I kept getting crushes on guys, and it sucked. And I tried out the label homoflexible for a while, but that sounded stupid and everyone made fun of me for it. When I started out at my new school, I tried to go by lesbian again. I was just like, lesbian, homosexual. But then I ended up dating a guy. It's an asshole, different story. And I was just thought, well, I guess I can't call myself lesbian anymore. I'm dating this guy. So I went back to bisexual. And I've just had this really long journey of trying to figure out what my sexuality is. From liking girls to figuring out if I like guys. And I've always liked girls a lot more than I've liked guys. I've known that ever since I've known that I liked girls. Because girls are just better to me. I don't know why they are. I just like them better. But I can't turn off my attraction to guys. I like guys. I like dating guys. I like kissing guys. I like having sex with guys. I can't just turn that off and become a lesbian. I wish I could, but I can't. And I actually have a pretty nice boyfriend right now. He's pretty nice to me. And he's not a dick, which is amazing. I've never dated a guy who wasn't a complete dick. Except for aforementioned boyfriend in 7th grade. He was the real MVP. I just hope if I make this video, if I get even to one person who kind of goes, oh, that sounds like me, or helps them out, or even entertains them a little bit, then it's worth it to make this shitty ass video on my iMac camera, because I don't have another camera. And I just want to let everyone know who's watching this, all 2 people, that if you're struggling with your sexuality, that it's okay. And it's okay to not fit in little tiny boxes of sexuality or gender. Not something I've struggled with, but also applies. If you don't have to fit in some box. You don't have to fit straight, gay, you don't have to fit in bisexual, pansexual, whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to put a label on yourself. You just like who you like and just try to be happy. And that's all that matters.